Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's May 22nd, 2016. Did you leave the stove on? Because I certainly didn't. What's goody, folks? How you guys doing? It's another good old morning of first period. We've got actually a bunch of stuff to talk about today, honestly. It has been a little bit different. Past couple of weeks were just interesting watching teams just sort of do whatever the hell teams do. But recently it's been a little bit different. Teams have really made some roster swaps. Some teams have started winning that haven't traditionally. Other teams have just gone insane. I don't know. It's been 1 week. No, it's actually it's been a really fun time in the SPL. For a moment there, Hunger for More were in second place. That's pretty nuts. Weekend's back. Snoopy's back. Just in general, we've got a bunch of crazy stuff going on. So there's fun. It's been fun. Before we start the show, I just want to say that first period has been brought to you by my hardworking ass, alongside with Into the AM. Into the AM provides some sort of decent clothing for cheap. If you use code FDOT, you get 10% off, and I get some dough. That's pretty sweet. So here's also a link that you can use. Into the AM are good people, some good stuff. They've been working together with some of the Smite people, trying to get they're going to do some Smite clothes soon, so they want to get their name out there and stuff. But in any event, Into the AM, that's exactly what first period is. I was late by like 3 minutes because I was dealing with the AM. But I think the biggest story this week is this guy right here. I think this is really what you're. Oops, that's the wrong picture. Or not even the wrong picture, that's the wrong program. I think this is the biggest story right here. Mr. Reels. Over in Europe, Fnatic has just completely crumbled, man. Like, completely crumbled. It's been rough. So Fnatic has been a team that's numero uno. Vedium, I'm going to be casting your games. So Fnatic has been a team that's been numero uno for a long time. We've never actually seen a Smite LAN that has Europe involved that doesn't feature Fnatic. Or in some amalgamation, that team. Reels and Captain Twig and Badger and Maniac and Zeros. Once upon a time, they had Proxy QQ on that squad. But that team has always been at Smite lands, like literally always. They're gonna miss DreamHack, and this will be the first time that they miss their LAN opportunity. It's pretty nuts. And why the hell is that the case? Because if you ask me, getting rid of Captain Twig last year was certainly the right move, because he just wasn't performing in the jungle. It wasn't working out. It wasn't a big deal, and I definitely. It's very easy to sit here a year later and go, well, haha, the replacement didn't do shit, and Captain Twig is killing it. But Captain Twig is killing it for a number of other reasons than just he's doing well. And it's problematic because I don't think Captain Twig would have ever reached that level of play on the Fnatic roster. Switching out for Jiffy obviously didn't work out as well as everybody had planned, but I think Jiffy had shown some signs of life, some positive things. Big Man Tings, on the other hand, like, I don't know. Big Man Tings didn't bring exactly what I wanted to see. I just wanted to see Big Man Tings really do work, but it's just not happening. It's just not doing it. And the problem is that Fnatic made a couple of changes, hoping to take their 3rd to 4th place team up into 1 to 2. And, well, they are 8th in the league. There's really just no sugarcoating that. There's no other way to say it. If we go to Spring Split and take a look at the standings, I mean, these guys, Fnatic, are 6-16, dude. They wound up splitting yesterday. Hooray. You guys split against a terrible team. Fnatic versus the Leftovers. I guess they're not terrible, but Badger on the other side, that's the team you're supposed to beat. That's the team you're supposed to beat, Fnatic. Come on, man. It's just really rough. I just don't understand exactly where Fnatic go wrong here. I don't understand where they go completely wrong. Do I think the Fnatic changes were induced by the team or the sponsor? First of all, the organization Fnatic, no, they like, that's not how gaming works. Your team, Fnatic actually has a CGO whose job it is to sort of like look at teams and acquire teams in different games. But once that acquisition is done, teams usually, if not always, dictate all of the roster swaps and the day-to-day of the team, like the gameplay of the team. That's sort of impossible to be dictated from the top down, just because different games are so different, and the guys from Fnatic aren't necessarily well versed in what's going on in Smite or whatever, in this, that, or a third. So, what happened to Fnatic? I mean, a noob for life. That's really the question that I've been asking for a long time. I actually do. A lot of times you can go ahead and identify the problem with these teams. We're like, all right, this last year's Fnatic, the problem was in the jungle. Captain Twig wasn't doing it. Maybe you should switch back with zeros. Whatever the solution is, Captain Twig is sort of a problem, right? You can look at Luminosity earlier in the year and go, Snoopy was an issue. Not necessarily Snoopy himself, but just his performance in the solo lane just isn't there. So stuff like that, it's easy to point to something that's been going wrong. For Hunger for More, nothing was working, and now everything's working. It's easy to point to that. With Fnatic, I don't really know. Like, it's rough. Good ranked players picked up, doesn't always work, but Big Man Teams was translating that into the challenger scene at least. Jiffy is really the ranked monster, and I understand the SPL to ranked transition isn't always easy, but this is more than just like, ooh, I got stage fright. I don't know. I think so. I went on a rant last week or so. Reels is one of the best hunters in his role, one of the best players in his role, and one of the best players, period, in the entire world. He's just that good. That's not me being friends with Marcus Vining. That's me looking up the stats of Reels X. He has some of the lowest deaths in his position, but that's a conversation that I won't ever have. Fnatic just are in a spot where all of their changes have not worked, and Reels pieces the hell out. I think so. I went on a rant last week or so. Reels is one of the best hunters in his role, one of the best players in his role, and one of the best players, period, in the entire world. He's just that good. That's not me being friends with Marcus Vining. That's me looking up the stats of Reels X. He has some of the lowest deaths in his position. He has some of the most damage done in his position. He has some of the better, he's just very strong. And so, for me, Fnatic's in a rough spot. And if I'm Reels, I'm seriously thinking about other options. So one of the things is Fnatic Reels. I mean, Reels has been with Fnatic for a long time. He's probably the pain to beyond of that organization, meaning that if he wanted to boot 4 players and get 4 more players, Fnatic would back him 100%. I don't know how much Fnatic is paying him, but if Fnatic is paying Reels enough money to like survive and to live, I really wouldn't I wouldn't shake a stick at it. I wouldn't be surprised if Reels boots 4 and then gets 4 more people. But realistically, what I want to happen, I want to see Reels jump on a different team. Could Reels replace Emilito? Honestly, yes. He honestly could. He's that good. He's that freaking good. Now, will that happen? No. I strongly disbelieve that happening. There's very little chance that actually happens. Yeah, he is. He really is the UZI, if you want to be the Americans. But the Uzi is Smite. I mean, he's just, watching Reels is actually like depressing if you're, it's depressing if you are a friend of any of the pros in the pro scene, have ever been a competitive anything, or just are emotionally invested into good Smite, it's upsetting to the point of aggravation watching a player as good as Reels be stuck on a team as bad as Fnatic. Because you see him do all of these strong plays, and you see him do all of these right maneuvers and these good things that his team isn't able to capitalize off of. Whether it's a Neath arrow stun, or it's just some Apollo play coming around the back end with the flank. Like, Reels is doing the right things, and then his team leaves him to die. His team can't pick up the slack. It's just not a good point. Reels to leftovers? No, absolutely not. You don't. If you're Reels, you don't go to a bottom team. You look at Panthera. You call it Panthera, and you go, bro, can you get rid of Emilito? And they'll probably say no. Paradigm's not getting rid of Funball either. Dignitas getting rid of Irens is all of a sudden an interesting conversation. I know that Reels is a hard carry of Fnatic. I feel that you don't give the credit to the mid and solo players, then you're not listening. There's no credit to give to the mid and solo players this year. Zeros is usually the highest talked about player on Fnatic, so I don't know where you're listening, Amper. But Fnatic has always, the story of Fnatic have always been that Zeros is one of the better mid laners in the world. Maniac was never super good, but he was always above average. And the conversation was always about Zeros doing well. Reels would just come in on the side and then clean up. Reels was always the closer of the team. And now he's had to become, that closer role has shifted from late game into early late game to late mid, and now he's like playing, now he has to play these characters that win in the mid game. We haven't given the credit to Maniac because he just hasn't done anything. And we haven't given the credit to Zeros this season because he just haven't done anything. Fnatic, in general, haven't done anything. They are 6-16. There's no credit to give. All of that credit goes to Reels. Last season, it was a much more different story. Last season, you sit there and you go, Maniac is one of the best 1v1 players in the world. Check him out and look at his rotations. Last season, you go, Zeros is smoking people on Giannis, and that's a big part of why he's able to do what he does. And it's a big part of why Fnatic is able to find wins. Zeros positioning used to be ideal. There used to be just a conversation going on amongst the team. Now you go ahead and you select your European stats. Reels is on the top half, the top quarter of kills. GPM, he's up there. KDA, he's really up there. What is that, top 10? Assists, Reels is, again, top 10, top 11. And then everyone else, KDA for Zeros. Wow, he's on the bottom half. GPM for Maniac. He's on the bottom half. Below supports. KDA for Maniac. He's on the bottom half. Deaths. Well, Maniac's on the top half. Surprise. Zeros is directly in the middle. So, I mean, you want to break it down stat by stat by stat. The mid and the solo just don't deserve that credit anymore. That was last year. There hasn't been any credit to give to those people. Maniac certainly is slipping. Zeros is slipping more than Maniac, in my opinion. It's rough as hell. It's just not going to happen. The main focus is talking about the two players that came in to fill the roles left. I don't know what you mean, but yes, that is obviously how that works. Welcome to sports media. We talk about the things that have changed. And right there, the roster had changed. The focus is definitely on the players that were replaced. Because like I said, Fnatic was supposed to go from a third place to fourth place team to a first to second place team with these changes. Captain Twig was not good. Zeros and Maniac were good. Badger was okay. You disagree about Zero slipping? You should watch the games Fnatic. You should watch Fnatic versus Hungry for More. There's zero chance that Soar beats ALG or that ALG beats Soar. Naturally, your stats will be dragged down if your team is losing. Reels aren't. That's my point. If Reels can do it, Sweet. I don't know. It doesn't, like, if you're looking at Fnatic, as I said, they tried to go from a third to fourth place team to a first to second place team. They excised two of their players that are causing problems, whether it's internal or just gameplay wise. I don't really know. But Captain Twig wasn't good in the jungle. And then Badger was okay. I guess they felt that they could improve with just change to synergy, right? So they switch out for Big Man Tings, and they switch out for Jiffy. Jiffy doesn't do anything, which sucks. And Big Man Tings is just sort of okay. Reels pieces out. He's like, fuck this, mate. I'm done. He goes on vacation, which the vacation was planned for a year, but if this team is competing for DreamHack, Reels doesn't go on vacation. Hunter's like the solo lane now? You wrong. You actually completely wrong. Hunter is more about fighting than it ever has been. Than it was for a year. Eager versus Soar? I think it'll be split. Fnatic, just nothing has worked out for them. Reels needs to look at a different team. I would love it if Reels looked at Dignitas. I think Reels on Dignitas would be a huge boon for that squad. And I think you're looking at a top-tier team with Reels on Dignitas. With that in mind, I also think Reels could join Panthera. If Panthera aren't hyper-attached to Emilito, I think that is a change that could actually realistically happen. And I think that would be take an already unstoppable team and make them even more unstoppable. I think Reels is the best hunter in Europe, and I think it's arguable that Reels is one of the best hunters. I think Reels is one of the best hunters in the world, and I think he's the best hunter in Europe. So, Fnatic are in a spot where nothing is good, and nothing really makes that good. So, Emilito's much better than Reels. You are incorrect. You are incorrect. Why would Panthera make that change? I don't think they would because they're doing so well. Emilito is doing perfectly fine. He's very good. There's no real change. If Panthera slip at LAN, I think you look at Reels. I think that Panthera with Reels is a better team than Panthera already is. But as I said, Panthera is already a strong team. I think the ideal spot for Reels to go is Panthera. I think the realistic spot for Reels to go is Dignitas. So I'm very excited for that. Roster changes that have actually worked. Shouts to ALG. Weekend comes back. Weekend plays PC again. Prove you wrong? No. ALG, they've got Weekend. Weekend is back on PC. It's about damn time. Emilito himself says Reels is better than him. Fucking hook, line, sinker, bros. Thank you. Get out of my chat. So, when it comes down to roster swaps that have actually worked, unlike Fnatic's abysmal thing they call a roster, Weekend is back on PC, and that's fantastic. Weekend is a big part of what made Envy win. Weekend is a big part of what made Envy find wins, or AFK, or Melly or Mariah, or all that nonsense. Everybody still thinks Weekend is, there seems to be some sort of circle jerk around like Weekend being bad, but Weekend's ability to shot call is very strong, and I think you saw that in a single game against Envy. So, I mean, ALG will dominate teams. They will truly crush ass. Now, that's the that's the side effect of the stream team dream team. There are a lot of irrational fans rooting for ALG. ALG is a much better team than they once were. Obviously, the thing that ALG lacked was shot calling. That's why they went to Mr. Mackey for 4 or 5 games, right? They wanted to find some sort of shot calling potential in players, and that just wasn't there with Mr. Mackey or anybody else they tried. But with Weekend, it certainly is. With Weekend, there's certainly a chance. There's certainly shot calling. Weekend has brought a lot of shot calling, and I think that we see them. I think that we see that in the games. The very first kill, the first blood that happened in ALG versus Envy was a janky speed buff invade coming off of a little bit of mid pressure, not a lot of it. It was just absolutely Perfectly timed. That's why ALG got those kills there. So, can I tell me what my thoughts on the implication of a fun ball minus fun ball plus Reels paradigm? I'm not sure if Reels fits in the paradigm. To be completely honest with you, paradigm exists in a vacuum, and fun ball is one of those players, or paradigm is one of those teams where like their culture works with their culture. I don't think that fun ball. I don't think that paradigm discuss booting players, and two, I don't know if Reels would fit in. I don't know if Reels would fit Paradigm, and I don't know if Paradigm would fit Reels. But as far as ALG is concerned, sorry about that. Weaken is a very good tool, and Weaken has already shown that he can shot call better than anybody that ALG has had previously. I like Laz in the jungle, but if I take away what I personally like to watch, I think Laz in the mid works out well. This is a good meta for him. Just super hyper burst mage, blink, Krakens, right? I think that works out. We'll see how ALG continues and trends forward. They're not going to DreamHack this split. There are still a number of teams better than them. Soar is just flat out better. Enemy's better. Eager's better. Luminosity is probably a little bit better. Denar's a little bit better. And Allegiance are better than Envy and Randozzo's. They're exactly 6th place. That's pretty much exactly what they, what's it called? That's pretty much exactly where ALG belong. 6th place is pretty much where I put them. I think we can make them a better team. I think we can keep this team out of relegation. I think Envy and Randozzo go ahead and get relegated. But it's rough. ALG definitely improved with Weaken. I think next split they start talking about going to Worlds, but they have a lot of work and effort to put in before that happens. I think that Matty Pocket's working out really well. I think Laz's is working out really well. I think that Weaken is working out really well. And then Incon has had some issues, but last week he looked very strong. And then Oceans is what's it called? A very big deal. That's exactly what I said for business. What's up with your hair, man? I don't know, dude. It's fucking 10 in the morning. My hair looks beautiful. What else do we got? Allegiance, they had their role swap. Envy had their role swap as well, or their roster swap. Snoopy's back, and he's more mediocre than ever. Snoopy came back last week, did not... Well, honestly, Snoopy had a pretty good performance. His soul left a lot to be desired, but his second game... Who did he play in game 2? Snoopy played... Nope. That's not updated. Snoopy played a traditional hunter in game 2. I can't recall who it was, and I can't look at the stats. But he played a little bit better. The soul didn't really have an impact. Snoopy played Shibalanke. That's who it was. And he got in situations where... when it came end game, Snoopy was able to 1v4, take out some of the enemy team, and really turn the tides of the game all by himself. All by himself. Snoopy got solo 2 times by Oceans. Yes, that's true. But it's just one of those things where, again, Snoopy's here. He's performing top notch, and all of this. The Snoopy game really showed me that Envy's problem wasn't singular. Meaning, do I think MLC will be back on the team instead of Kiki? No. Meaning, when Snoopy showed up and played and performed lights out, the rest of the team couldn't do it against the bottom of the pack team in ALG. We can improve that team. But not enough to the point where they're a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 team. And Envy still wasn't able to win with Snoopy going 1v4. Just really rough. Rule 5 is overrated. I don't know who Rule 5 is. Cyclone Spin didn't really have an impact in the jungle, unfortunately. I think Kiki over MLC Stealth is an even swap. It just depends on who gels better with the team, and it sounds like Kiki does. Envy feel everybody points to the Envy chemistry, and you know that's something that you can point to. It's Omega. Well, then I think you're completely wrong. Omega is not overrated. Omega is one of the better solo laners in the entire world. He didn't do it in the jungle. That sucks. I think if Omega had more time, that it would have worked in the jungle. And that's, again, what we got to see out of Cyclone Spin. Give him time. None of these, like, switching positions at a professional level isn't so simple. All of the intricacies that allow you to be a professional player in your original role don't necessarily carry over. So it's tough. It's very tough for Envy. And I think, like I said, that Snoopy game was proof that it's just not about this team finding the right people and then clicking. You've got Snoopy and Ionic, the dual lane that terrorized North America. Absolutely terrorized North America. And then you've got Cyclone Spin in the jungle, a player that's a catalyst by nature, and Omega in the solo lane, one of the better players in that position. They're still not able to find wins against a team that's on the bottom end of the league. Even with Weekend, they're still not a top team, ALG. Omega seems to have a really toxic attitude. I'm sure him putting his team on blast on stream wasn't exactly great for team culture. I don't understand. Like, MLC is 10 times better than Kiki. You are 10 times stupider than anybody interested in the SPL, unhappy customer. Kiki is not 10 times worse than MLC Stealth. A lot of that is rose-colored glasses looking at MLC of yesteryear. MLC is not a bad mid by any stretch of the imagination, and MLC could probably improve some rosters out there, but Kiki is a totally fine mid. There's nothing wrong with Kiki's mid. He's not 10 times worse than any professional player, and Kiki can definitely hold it down. If Envy is having chemistry problems, if everybody's going to point to the chemistry on Envy being the issue, then Kiki absolutely should stay. Kiki is one of the better players when it comes to team chemistry. I'll end my statement there. Omega is also very good when it comes to team chemistry as well. These players, when it comes down to professional squads, ask Walrus, ask Vedium if he's still in chat. We have a lot of pros in the chat. When it comes down to professional rosters, a lot of what you see in public, on stream, on Twitter, is not how the players actually interact. At all. And even still, some people interact in different ways. Not everything has to be, oh, hey, friend, how are you, buddy? I hope your day is wonderful. You are so good. You just happened to miss that wall stun. That's unfortunate, right? That's not how everybody works. That's just not how everybody works. Omega is one of the best teammates you can have. Ask anybody around. Anybody around that has ever played with Omega will tell you that he's one of the better pros to have on your team, because he just sort of puts his head down and does his job. He's a soldier. He was in the Navy, right? He pipes up when he's got some sort of input, but he's never going to strong arm you into a situation. His ego's never going to take over. He's never going to be this loudmouth asshole like I would be on a team that sits there and goes, listen to me and do what I say. He's a smart guy, but he realizes that he's not always the coach, man. And then people see him be snotty on stream, and they think that translates into how he is behind the scenes. That's not at all how that works. ALG needs Papa ATG. So, I mean, a lot of that has to do, a lot of what Envy's going through is rough, and I think that the inclusion of Snoopy into their team is just proof that this squad is bad for all of the wrong reasons. It's not how oopsie daisy, they don't have this guy in the right spot, or somebody left. It's something larger than that. MLC wrote a big twit longer. And Vulpix doesn't like how MLC was benched regarding his twit longer. I talked with Omega, and he said that Cyclone would rather play with Kiki as his mid laner because Cyclone thinks they would have more synergy. That might just be the reason I was given, or that might actually be it. I'm not sure. I don't know why those last two things have to be stated. But okay. When it comes down to it, this season is all about mid-jungle synergy. Kiki and Cyclone have a lot of synergy. They just get along real well, right? Now, it didn't work out for Andy and Boosh, but theoretically that sort of works. Rachel Nichols just did a whole piece on the Cavaliers. And the Cavaliers are a basketball team, and they're doing very well. That's the team LeBron James is on, right? And she spent 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes covering the chemistry of this team. And it wasn't about X's and O's or basketball at all. It was honestly more about intricate handshakes that the team combines with. Having fun with the coach. Coach Lou won an award, and the team was celebrating with him. And she was just looking at the squad, and she showed some replays of the team before when they had a different coach, when things weren't so hot, and passes were just being missed, and people were being yelled at, and like a player fell down, and LeBron walked around him, you know? Now they have a coach. Now they're all joking around. They're constantly on Vine and Twitter, just messing around, having a good time. Similar to the way you see the guys on Enemy Act in interviews and stuff, similar to the way you see Panthera Act on Twitter, just all having fun, all having a good time. And thinking positive and crossing your fingers doesn't win games, but having a positive environment certainly will put you in a position to win those games. And when it comes down to it, if Cyclone Spin, if the jungler, if the hard carry of that team is more comfortable with player X instead of player Y in a position, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. The Senpai was the glue. I mean, yeah, Allied, like, realistically, look at that NV roster and understand the type of person that Allied is. And think about all the outside of the line stuff that I was just talking about, right? Everybody's getting mad at each other. You've got an Allied on this team. All of a sudden, Allied can just diffuse the situation instantly. Instantly. That's one of Allied's gifts, is that he's just, you're not really ever mad at Allied too hard. And he tends to, like, when two people are fighting, he knows how to diffuse it, right? That's what he's good at. The team doesn't have that. Now, I'm not saying that they're fucking biting each other's face off. I'm not saying they're angry. I'm not even saying that they're not getting along. Maybe they're getting along swimmingly. But there was a lot of things outside of just playing the game that was plaguing Envy. And the best proof you can get is Snoopy showing up on Shibalanke last night or last week and just killing it. Killing it. And the team still doesn't win. Long term, I think this team improves, especially with Snoopy on the squad. The joke that Snoopy wasn't on the team earlier. Long term, I think this team improves. I would have loved to see Snoopy go to a different team. There were rumors about Snoopy heading to a different team. I would have loved to see that happen. But Snoopy chose the team that he's a little bit closer to. A team that he can gel with. A team that he can synergize with. Do you see the common thread? Do you see the common thread here? So, I don't know. This roster change for Envy will work, but it'll work in the long term. And then even in the long term, if you look at towards the fall split, right? Soar is going to stay as good as they are. Enemy might falter a little bit, but will generally stay positive. Does that game establish that Snoopy's still a top hunter? Sure. I don't think ALG is the toughest opposition, but I think that Snoopy has definitely proved that he's able to play again. Enemy, I think, slip a little bit going into the next split, but are still strong. Team Eager and Soar, I think, are the two strongest teams in North America. Luminosity and Denial. My chat's on screen, Snoopy. Luminosity and Denial are going to be middle of the pack teams. I see LG getting much better. I see Denial getting much better as well. So all of these teams in North America are going to improve. Give or take Enemy. We have to see what happens. But ALG is going to improve as well. Envy is going to improve. Shit, even Randozos is going to improve. So it's one of those things where everybody is going to improve. I think that Envy has a high upside, and I think that Snoopy by himself can probably change the whole situation of Envy. And I don't mean that by Snoopy showing up and going ham with the Xbalanque. I mean that Snoopy's performance will entice other members from Envy to step it up. And again, I don't mean to paint this picture where Envy is sitting there deliberately downplaying their performance. Cyclone Spin has to get acclimated to the jungle, and that's pretty much it. But Cyclone Spin has to get acclimated to the jungle, and then you got to see how Cyclone Spin and Kiki work. Like I said, theoretically, I think that Kiki and MLC are probably equal skill level. MLC might have a step or two in front of Kiki, but not that much. Kiki's just a team guy. Kiki's a team guy. Kiki works well with the team. He's changed roles bazillion times. GG. Interesting. So I think Envy going forward winds up being a better team on the back, not on the back of Snoopy, but catalyzed by Snoopy's performance. And I'm being careful to phrase this and say this multiple times because I don't think that Snoopy is, hey, what's up, man? I'm Ken Griffey Jr. Let's play Major League Baseball. I think it's more like Snoopy is almost going to inspire this team and say, hey, shit, that's how good we can be. We've got Omega and Cyclone Spin and Eonic and Kiki, right? Kiki's the role player on this team, and he's still a good player. Snoopy and Eonic were a duo lane that terrorized North America for a number of months. Like, the better part of a freaking year. Omega... Barra's playing a bit too passively lately. That's Barra's play style, man. That's what Barra does. Barra's not an aggressive hunter. Aggressive hunters are named Zapman. But I think Snoopy can be what Envy needs to sort of launch them into a spot where they are successful. How successful, we'll see. Because as people in chat want me to talk about Team Eager, so that's exactly where we'll go. Because teams like Eager and Soar are just getting better by the day. Just getting better by the day. Zapman, like... Barra's playing a bit too passively lately. That's Barra's play style, man. That's what Barra does. Barra's not an aggressive hunter. Aggressive hunters are named Zapman. Aggressive hunters are named Panda Cat. Aggressive hunters are named... Vedium's sort of in between. Snoopy is an aggressive-ass hunter. And look how well he played this week. See a correlation? Fnatic needs to put on a mask, bro. You know what? If Mask moved over with this team, they might even be good. Seriously, though. Poor Fnatic. Is the meta all about aggressive hunters now? I don't think that it's easy to... I don't think that it's easy to boil down meta as like, is it all about X, Y, Z or X, Y, and Z? But aggressive hunter, basically the meta is in a spot whether the combination of itemization, map changes, and current players in the league allow hunters to be or X, Y, and Z. But aggressive hunter... Basically, the meta is in a spot whether the combination of itemization, map changes, and current players in the league allow hunters to empower themselves and be very strong. Zapman is a dude that's going to jump in at you at level 3, sometimes level 2 on her if he's feeling himself. And if you are not prepared or adequately skilled to deal with that, you're going to die. And that means you never get your boars again. Zapman's going to go ahead, catapult himself to a level and a half above you. And then he's able to make those rotations to the mid-harpies even. He's able to make those rotations to the Gold Fury. He's able to catch mid lane out a little bit. All of a sudden, if you take the right fight in the hunter lane, as a hunter, you can completely change the whole dynamic of the left side of the map. How hype would it be if Eager and Denial matched that last Monday for a spot at DreamHack? That would be dope. I mean, hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. But Zapman is a big part of why Team Eager has been successful. And I think Team Eager is a very fun... Team Eager is a very fun look at SPL in about 2 hours, yeah. Team Eager is a very fun look at everything outside of the team. I think it's very fun to go ahead and look at what the players on this team embody outside of the game and how that has a lot to do with a team's success. Beliskner's here. He's not going to mention anything. Beliskner, one of the more tight-lipped players or coaches in the league, as he coaches Eager. But one of the big things that has really benefited Team Eager is the balance of personalities on this squad. Yeah, people are very scared of Zap. He has that aura. We've spoken about the Zap Man aura. If you sit there and analyze what he's doing, such as jumping into you and you could easily kill him, then he can get very far behind very quickly. And see, that's Snoopy. That's Evan Snoopy Man Jones saying that. Yes, if you just sit there and analyze what he's doing, such as jumping into you when you could easily kill him, then he can get very far behind very quickly. But that's easier said than done, because Zap's always putting the gas, always pressing the gas. And so he puts you in a position where you don't have the opportunity to sit there and analyze, right? So you have to have that lightning fast game sense, reflex, and mechanical prowess on the hunter. There are very few people that I think can take Zapman in a fight. I think that Snoopy can probably take Zap in a fight. I think that Oceans, we've seen Oceans try, and I think that's a good start. But at this point in his career, I don't think Oceans can take Zapman for a fight. Vedium can. Will I say it can? He sort of can. Snoopy can. Barra can't. Panda Cat can. And Meerkat can't. Met Yankee, depending on the day. Not many players can take that. Even over in Europe, I think you're looking at players like Reels can take that, and Melito can take that, and Funball will always take that, whether or not he wins. It's tough. It's tough, man. But so when it comes down to Eager, one of the things that I really like about this squad is the balance of personalities. I said earlier that I think that... Earlier, by that I mean like week 1. I said Eager's either going to be a bottom of the barrel team like 7-8, or they're going to be a top of the pack team 1 or 2. And I said that because of the players and the people that are around and a part of this squad. Zapman, DJ Pernicus, and Divios are 3 very headstrong players that they don't always want to be heard because they think that they are the best or always correct or always the right guy to listen to. They want to be heard because they all want to win very badly. DJ, Divios, and Zapman are very, very, very motivated by winning. And that sounds like a big duh. You're a competitive player. Everybody's motivated by winning. But everybody knows these players that are a little bit more competitive than the rest. The players that are a little bit more hungry or thirsty or whatever stupid adjective you want to give. And that isn't necessarily a positive or negative. I'm not saying that Zapman, DJ, and Divios want to win more than other players. But they're motivated by sheer winning a little bit more. And that alone doesn't put them in a position to go ahead and win, but that combined attitude was very, like I said, they could have been a bottom-of-the-barrel team if they didn't work out. But they did find out how to blend their personalities, and Zapman, DJ, and Divios now all sort of carry this sort of in-game leader. DJ is very clearly the leader from what we've heard, but Zapman and Divios aren't going to be quiet about it, and neither is Aurora. Aurora's going to step up and comment as well. So you have all of these vocal people on the team. The Best, I think, has turned around his attitude very much so. I think we used to see a little bit more of a sarcastic Best, a little bit more of a passive-aggressive Best. This dude used to be, going back a year or two, this dude used to be, you could kind of see where he would cause teams to be an issue. But I think the biggest thing is that he's older now. Homie's 20 instead of 18. Second biggest thing is the Best and DJ Pernicus get along super well. Super well. And then Zapman and Best have also played together for a while. Like Aurora the Best and DJ Pernicus come together, and these 3 guys are these guys have just played together, and they enjoy hanging out together, and they enjoy all of the good stuff that makes a team like Paradigm very good, right? all the good stuff, all of that inner game synergy, all that inner outer team synergy, game or otherwise, that makes Paradigm very good and makes Enemy very good. You've got Aurora, the best in DJ. These guys are super good friends. And then you combine Zapman and Divios with that. Divios is easy to be friends with. Zapman depends on the situation. But these guys all want to win. They all have a good time together. And I think the biggest thing, anytime you catch these guys streaming, they're either playing together or even in the same mumble. Not even just playing together on the same TeamSpeak, mumble, whatever. Just hanging out together. And I think that's a very big deal that some people sort of overlook. Maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just hiding. But it's a very big deal when teams are a big part of each other's day-to-day lives. You heard that from Chaos, where Chaos said, Chaos on Enemy was like, hey, man, we just hang out. These guys are all friends. You hear that a lot about Soar, where these guys were peppered on different teams beforehand, but we're all friends. Like Met Yankee was always playing with Jigs and Harwin and Homie FA and Baskin. These guys were always playing together, and then they were on different teams. Coming into the season, they were just like, screw it, we'll just play with our friends. And well, they're the number one team in North America. Well, golly gee. You think there's some sort of connection there? I don't think being good friends, I don't think crossing your fingers and thinking happy thoughts, I don't think that simply reading The Secret and hoping for the best, the best of eager, is what makes you win games. But if you have the skill set, having a positive culture, environment, and people that legitimately enjoy the time around each other will put you in a position to be better at what you do. Not just in Smite. I mean, shit, commentary. Flat out. Brandon and I, when we were commentating, a lot of people were talking positive about Brandon and I's commentary, and I completely agree. I think that we had very good stuff going on in the middle of this split, in the middle of this season. And Brandon and I, at the time, were good friends. We were closer than we had been ever. And by closer, I don't mean, like, closer makes it sound like we're sitting there eating popcorn, reading Judy Blume books to each other. I'm not saying we were like BFF AE like me and Jill, my BFF Jill. But we were friends. We respected each other, and that just led to we're both decent at commentary, right? I think this has been a rough week for me, but we're both good at commentary, and our friendship and our mutual respect put us in a position to go ahead and be better, right? And it's not just this power of friendship. It's just when you spend time with each other outside of the game, when you spend time with each other, even inside of the game, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's the game, whether it's commentary or etc. When you spend time with each other, you learn each other's tics, verbal or otherwise. You learn each other's tendencies. You just learn each other a little bit better. And in a situation like team sports, like esports, like Smite, you need to know, is that man going to jump forward? Is that man going to go to the left or the right? Is Aurora going to blink in? Is Aurora not going to blink in? These things are going to be communicated on voice chat, but of course they're also going to be mentioned and done with like nonverbal cues. You got to sort of know that. You got to sort of understand that. You got to sort of be able to bring that and internalize that. And, your super dope best friend that you've been to a million concerts with and you've gotten weird tattoos and gotten drunk with and tried weird stuff and gotten in trouble with, but also graduated with and done good things and done school projects and after school activities with, right? You know how you can finish his or her sentences? You know how you know exactly what he wants from Starbucks or exactly what she wants from the deli? You know how you know all that shit? Well, when you're able to bring that into Smite, well, damn. Now you're operating on another level. Now that's what I'm trying to say. It's not enough to be friends to go ahead and win the game. Shouts to Randozos. These guys are all good friends. But by having that understanding, that attitude, and that close-knit relationship, you put yourself in a position to win. Ask any pro. All the pros will tell you that. That's eager. Honestly, that's eager. Man, poor Fnatic. Hunger for More is probably our last comment, our last conversation today. Hungry for More have proved that they're not a fluke. Hungry for More has really proven that it's not an accident. Smite servers in Virginia, near all of Volpixie's house. I think you can look at Hunger for More and unintelligently call them a fluke if you didn't watch every single week of the SPL. What's up, Mexican Snorlax? I think that if you watch the previous weeks, you can easily understand why this team has been so successful. Why does the Twiggy have a picture? That sucks. Playing with significant others is always rough. Incredibly close, but you can't stand him as a support in game. Young Bay is the coach for Panthera. But so Hungry for More. Adonis has predicted that Hunger for More steals a game off of Panthera. And I'm not in a position to disagree. I don't necessarily agree, but I don't think that you can really disagree without being too much of an asshole. Hunger for More this season has really proven themselves to be one of the top tier teams in Europe. That's pushing it. To be a very strong team in Europe. I don't know if they've proven themselves to be a top tier team, but they've certainly proven themselves to be capable of achieving that. So, I think that when you look at the past couple of weeks, I broke it down not last week, but the week before. I broke Hunger for More down week by week by week. And essentially, they came into the league with one person doing well. And then next week, 2 people were doing well. And then next week, 3 people were doing well. Then the week after that, 3 people were working together. Then the 4th week, 4 people were doing well. They switch out Zinderd for Manalike. And now Manalike is as aggressive as the team probably wants. He's able to make plays where the team commits. And Hunger for More are able to find wins. Now, you're going to win against Torpedo, nobody cares. You're going to win against Fnatic, again, nobody cares. You're going to win against Dignitas, now we're talking. Now we're a little bit interesting. Now we're a little bit interested. This team is very good. And I think that the past 2 weeks, you could say, Hungry for More might be a little bit, maybe they're fluking. Maybe they're just getting lucky. Even though you got to look at the past couple of weeks and see if there's been tangible results driven from explicit desire to improve. But either way, a player or a person might say that Hunger for More is getting lucky. After their wins against Dignitas, I don't think you can say that anymore. I think you just got to respect this team for what they are. We always say, as analysts, that we love to be proven wrong. That we love to be the incorrect dudes. And I think that my analysis of Europe when the season started was, it's very fun to see the turnaround. I almost it's so much fun to see Hunger for More in second place after calling them Hunger for losses, and Team Dignitas in 4th and likely to be top 3 after calling them Team Feels Bad Manitas. Do I think Dig is becoming the cheese team like COG was last split? Absolutely not. Hunger for More, I think, are I don't know if they make it to DreamHack. The rest of the schedule, as far as the other teams are concerned, is rough. Cringe Crew have a walk in the park. All they have to do is just sort of show up, win the games they're supposed to. And I think Team Dignitas, and I think Cringe Crew has a really good shot. But what about Torpedo? I think they have a lot of potential. Your thoughts? Yeah, sure. Torpedo aren't a bad team. Don't forget that Torpedo was also relegated once upon a time. I mean, this team plus Murder is the Night's Watch, right? Animaxius Flare is still hungry for losses. Love Nate. I am not an analyst. I just say what I see on the screen. It's a joke. I am paid. Gordon de Gopher. I'd like you to follow that up. Why do you think I'm not an analyst? Although I'm not an analyst on the broadcast. I'm usually play-by-play. I just say what I say on the screen. It's pushing it. But yes, I am more of a painter than I am an analyst on the broadcast. But honestly, the reason I'm not an analyst is, 1, I'm just better at hosting the desk than I am being an analyst, and 2, I'm not as good at delivering my analysis in concise, easy sound bites. People like Anatoly are very good at going at answering a question like, oh, like why do you think we see the Witchblade on the support here, right? Well, the answer is because the basic attack characters of the other team. I tend to add a couple more. Like, well, you see, the reason that we got the Witchblade is because it does an excellent job of counteracting exactly what the enemy team is trying to do. With a character like Freya, a character like Uller, and a character like Bologna in the game, you got a lot of basic attacks going on. Kali might even show up as well, so you want to be aware of using that aura to disallow some of the basic attacks. Like, shut the fuck up. I could have just said that in 1 or 2 sentences. That's definitely not a thing that I'm good at. Ballistic says Cog wasn't a cheese team at all last split. We worked very hard, just exactly. And like that's why I answered the question that I as harshly as I did. A lot of people, even a lot of intelligent people, called Cog cheese. I called him innovative. Sometimes the innovation worked, sometimes it didn't. I don't know. It was Cog had a lot going for them, and I think they could have won. Go ahead and look at last year's stuff. Maybe it's just me liking what DJ and Aurora bring to the table, but I liked that COG team from last year. I think they could have gotten better. So I think they could have done well. True, you are a great personality for the screen. Yeah, well, you're a shithead. See you later, buddy. Am I good at Smite? I'm above average. I'm not a pro by any chance at all. I called COG. I think that's how you call it. So that's sort of the unofficial Q&A. Again, I have commentary this morning or this afternoon, so we can't go later than 1. So if you guys got any questions, now's probably a good chance to go ahead and give them out. I'll answer some Qs. Well, I'll answer all the Qs. I got to bail like as soon as noon comes around. Hence the get up. I don't just sleep in suits. So there's that. Torpedo do have some potential. Not this split, obviously, but I think in the future. Why do I think teams are making roster changes and such without talking with the team as a whole about performance issues, such as what happened with MLC, Dare, or Incon back on AFK? Because these teams and players aren't as professional as they could or should be. That's really just it. In a perfect professional world, there's a lot more communication going on. So, can't wait to see Eager crush Soar. Matt Yankee, you scummy. I have that as a split. I think that Soar... So here's actually my breakdown between Eager and Soar, realistically. I think Eager and Soar are incredibly evenly matched as far as raw talent is concerned. And when it comes down to it, Soar is more consistent than Eager. I think Soar... I think Soar wins 55% of the time. Eager wins 45% of the time. I think 60-40 is too harsh. I think 55-45 is really what you're looking at. And with that in mind, when Eager beats Soar, they beat them harder. They beat them stronger. They beat them faster. They beat them more devastatingly. But when Soar beats Eager, it's just more consistent. That's kind of what I see out of those rosters. I'm predicting a split, but if Eager wins game 1, they win both games. Will we see Dry Bear again? No. Am I better at playing Smite than DM? Absolutely not. Panthera versus old Dignitas, like like North American Dignitas. Panthera. What do I think of the change to ALG? I think Weekend will make them a much stronger team. I don't think that they do anything this split, but I think that next split they wind up being a little bit more potent. The problem is everybody else is getting more potent as well. Thanks, Crater. What do I think the issue with LG is? Andy hasn't been Andy, which is funny because Andy's still playing a very high level, but Andy's not playing at the best in the nation level, which is kind of what LG has always sort of leaned on. So I don't watch ALG for the stream meme team. I watch for Oceans. Me too. Envy's potential if they get team play and shot calling, the roof. Envy's a fantastic team. Omega's one of the best. So, like I said before, just breaking it down, looking at Envy, Omega's one of the best in his position. Eonic and Snoopy bullied an entire league for almost a full year. Kiki's fine in mid. Cyclone and Jungle has to learn, but he can be one of the more catalyzing players in the league. Envy has a great roster on paper. They're just not putting the pieces together. Do I think teams this season are realizing they need to spend time focusing on synergy? Yeah, I think so as a whole. I think some teams haven't gotten it. Am I forced to wear suits in the SPL? Why do you say forced? I mean, I can't show up wearing a t-shirt. A lot of our Kevin sometimes shows up just in a weird like button up. I think that we have leeway on whatever we want to wear. So I'm not going to take full credit, but I'm a big part of the wardrobe selection for SPL. Once upon a time on my first cast, we were casting from home, and Bart and everybody tended to wear like polo shirts and t-shirts. And so I said, hey man, I'm going to wear a shirt. I probably won't wear a tie because you're going to wear a t-shirt next to me, but I'm going to wear like a shirt and a jacket. And he was like, why? You don't have to. And I was like, nah. As a viewer, I want to see a certain level of professionalism. I'm not saying we got to be super buttoned up or it's all about having fun, but I like wearing something nice to present myself in a certain light. Bart showed up with a tie that week. There was the worst fucking part of oh my God. I hated last year when Gandhi made us wear those stupid polos. We looked like the dudes coming over to clean your pool. Like, straight up, we just looked like dudes that were trying to clean your pool. Like, hey guys, what's up? I'm here to do the roto-rooter in the back, just in our polos. Like I said, man, I'm not saying everybody's got to be done up in a suit and tie, but like, showing up in a polo was not... I felt more like a sandwich artist than a commentator. It was rough. It was rough. If the split started now, with the teams playing as good as they are now, who would be top 2 in each region? That's weird. If the split started right now with the teams playing as good as they are now, who would be top 2? I'm misunderstanding the question because I'm kind of just going to click on standings and go Soren, Enemy, Panthera, and Hungry for More. Oh, I see what you're saying. With the changes and everything, I think Envy wound up being like a 4th place team. But everything else generally looks the same, probably. Yes, we did look like we worked at Best Buy, Courtney. It was definitely one of those, like, I don't know. It was also, like, unflattering to our bodies. I don't know. I don't look good in a polo at all. Is Soar really going to get better? Isn't Baskin going to college? You made it sound like this was his last split. I mean, Baskin, as far as next split, sure. If Baskin leaves, that's obviously a big deal, but we'll see what happens. Randozo's 2-0. Will Envy get their heads together and win again? Possibly. Next time you want to play some arena, hit you. Oh, Met Yankee. I was like, huh. Take a look at Oceania Law. New split starting next weekend. I'm excited for the new split so I can actually pay attention. But then DreamHack comes and I won't be able to, so it'll be tough. Do I think Eager will beat Soar? I think they can win one at the very least. I think it's a split. Will I fix my hair for today? Nope. Hey, at Volpixies. Man, people always ask the same question over and over again. Do you think the Denial can still make DreamHack? Yeah, they can. I don't think it's going to be easy. Denial actually have one of the harder schedules coming up, which is tough. Who are my wild cards in NA and EU to make DreamHack? I think Hunger for More is my obvious wild card for EU. For NA, I think Luminosity is my wild card. What team do I think has the most room to grow? The worst team. I don't know. Whether that's Fnatic or Randozos. Do I think Ionic is the right shot caller for Envy? Sure. Morning. Do I feel bad for MLC Stealth current situation? Do I feel bad? There's no place in pro video games. There's no place in pro competition for feeling bad for people. Andy was so cocky, he said that they were going undefeated. Eager said no. Cocky? No. Confident? Yes. You should come up with a poolside outfit? I'm good. Polo shirts are pretty ugly. What designates a button up as weird? It just depends on the shirt. Fashion police? You'd be surprised, man. Yo, behind closed doors, I never rash anybody. Because I make my own mistakes. But behind closed doors, dude, I shit talk everybody in esports and their fashion choices, dude. Like, esports has some terrible fashion. I'm totally the fashion police. After DreamHack, we'll start another split, and there will be another Super Regionals and SWC. Yes. Apparently, Ocean's going to start streaming soon. That'd be hot. I'd love to see that. I definitely love to see that. I was watching this season. Epsilon beat Cloud9. Who was the commentator with the what face? Season Epsilon beat Cloud. Oh, Worlds. That's my buddy Golden Boy. He works over at Twitch. He's a very cool dude. Our SPL games pre-recorded. They are live for the commentators, and that's really what matters to me. What would be the most exciting EU versus NA matchup? Panthera versus Eager. Panthera versus Soar. Panthera versus any top-tier team, I think. How do I feel about MLC Stealth's current situation? It sucks. I think he's good enough to find another team next split. Can Cringe Crew take Paradigm out for Super Regionals? Doubtful. Where do I think MLC will go? Not Soar. Enemy is Chaos, not Enemy. Eager is Best, not Eager. Luminosity is Boosh, not Luminosity. Denial is Xenotronics. Maybe Denial. Maybe not Allegiance. Denial. I think Denial's on the rise. Yeah, Denial's definitely on the rise. Yo, thanks, Ocarina. Appreciate it. I tailor my suits. Yes. Of course. You have to. If you don't tailor your suit, you're doing it wrong. If you buy a suit off the rack and you don't tailor it, you're doing it wrong. The suits on the rack are made for the majority of people, not you. You buy a suit, you spend an extra $50, depending on your tailor. You get the dimensions drawn just for you. That's how you do it. Unless you get an MTM shoot. Unless you get a suit fucking made to measure. Then you're a baller. Thanks, Yuzi. Can Panthera beat the number 1 seed, Curse of DreamHack? Yes. Yeah, that's Golden Boy. That also does Halo stuff. What's up, Anvil Pixies? Not much. Well, I have MLC or Kiki in mid for Envy. Kiki. Cyclone Spin has said that he just plays better with Kiki. And 2 things. 1, your jungler, you got to have who they play better with in mid. And also, Cyclone Spin's one of those players that you just sort of like, if you want brown M&M, it's fine. What would I prefer to be changed to Susano? His numbers. No summer split, just spring and fall? Yes. Let's see my shoes. These are the shoes I'm wearing today. All those Polo One, I got horsepower. If I work at high res, will I be paid in gems or cash? Gems. Everybody that lives at high res, everybody that works at high res lives at high res. There's a campus, and all of the stores, all of the restaurants, all of the everything, car dealerships, etc., they all accept gems as payment as well. So you get paid an absorbent amount of gems, and you're able to take that and use that on the campus. Opinions on how I think the Dig players have been performing individually. Extremely well. Barn. Dignitas have been out of their minds. I'm not surprised at all about Shadow Nightmare. Shadow Nightmare's always really performed out of his mind. Like, out of his mind. He's always been very good. Suntouch has always been a good support player, and he didn't really show much rust, and now he's really stepping into his stride. Renz is playing better than he really does. I say it all the time on the broadcast. Renz is one of the more inconsistent hunters, and we're seeing a little bit more consistency out of him. Frostiak wasn't good last season. He was good season 1, and now he's working out. And Dark Dodo's a dude that really has, not much to look back on. So, What are you talking about? You don't like my polo shoes, Volpix? Get out of here. And no, I did not get them at Macy's. I got them at Finish Line, Foot Locker. That shit was $25. That's why I bought them. What do I think about SCL soon? It's starting, and that's cool. How come Incon and Ataraxi used to commentate? We invite pros that don't make it to Worlds to commentate with us. You've been joking about an esports fashion, please? Yo, hug or not, dude, it's so bad. I would be so down. Man. But since I'm not super skinny, my fashion is kind of off. Like my suits don't fit well and everything. Shouts to me, I have lost some weight. That's dope. But if I was skinnier, I would look a lot fresher. And since I'm not like, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Marshall dresses like a champ. I give Marshall gets a lot of credit. You know, some of the older dudes like Randy dresses well. He dresses exactly as you expect like a bigger old dude to dress. I like the Magic dudes are hit or miss, right? My eyebrows look like Sharpie marks. Yeah, I got big old caterpillar eyebrows. Do I think MLC has struggled due to the revolving door? Yes, of course. Absolutely. I think MLC's problem and Envy's problem larger is the fact that they haven't had a single team to really look at. It's always been just like messing up. Can I please shut down Baskin? At Divios? We'll see. You said the Denial Boys can be assholes. Shadow Q agreed, but hoping you were not speaking about him. Were you? I think everybody can be assholes. I don't know. Shadow Q's more of a memer than the other guys. I think that Shadow Q is probably a smaller resume than the other dudes on that team when it comes to being mean. But I think that team in general aren't the nicest people in the league. Which isn't a requirement. That's me just stating it as it is. Full disclosure, I think I'm pretty good. It's actually hilariously enough, I am better friends with Drelo and Mask and some of the more rough around the edges dudes that do things that I don't necessarily agree with than some of the other players, which is kind of funny. Divio's going to dominate Baskin. We'll see. You want pros to be like NHL players and showing up in suits and play games in jerseys? Me too, man. I think that's fun. I like what Rick Fox does. Rick Fox, owner of Sonic Fox, owner of Echo Fox over in Counter-Strike. Well, they've been making moves a lot of places. Their team always shows up in suits with matching orange ties. Orange is one of their team colors. And then they wear their jerseys for the show, for the game. Absolutely love that. What happened to Brandon Casting? He stepped down as a caster, moving back to New Jersey. Do I think Barrett could be more aggressive in lane? Do I think he can? Sure. If Last retires like he says he might, would he fit in with ALG? MLC? Sure, I guess. I haven't heard that Laz is retiring, but best time in NA? By that I mean highest chance to defeat Panthera and not just standings-wise. Soar or Eager, I think. Soar or Eager. Xeno's way better than MLC? I don't know about that. Can I teach Anatoly to get hype? We have been. Anatoly has been working very well. I'm actually pleasantly surprised in how much ground Anatoly's been able to cover. And a lot of that has to do with Anatoly's desire to work. Toly has a good skill set, but he obviously needs to work on the things he needs to work on, like we all do. But some people want to get better more than others. And not specific about commentary, but just in general, teaching people in the past, etc., etc. Some people show up, some people text you at 1 a.m. saying, hey, do you want to show up early tomorrow and go over VODs so I can learn? And those are the people that improve the fastest. So, Lazarus had mentioned on stream he isn't retiring until after Worlds. He said even then, he might not just not. There you go. Any insight on Panthera not having an org still? No. Not that I can share. Sometimes it's not all about the orgs. Since when did he say that a few days ago? Okay, yeah. Looks like Laz isn't retiring. You guys are silly. Is Adapting still the best player in the world? I don't really like to say best player in the world. I don't really do that. Listen to the commentary. I don't really do that. He's one of them. I would say yes to that answer more than I would say no. What do I think about the spread of player talent in the pro scene? I think it's very well spread out. I think this is one of our most competitive seasons. I was supposed to get an MTM suit, but the guy was measuring me and said, don't bother. I'm nearly a perfect 42L off the rack. That's a lazy dude. Tell him to do it anyway. Because off the rack, I mean, depends. Like, Brooks Brothers off the rack is completely different than anything you buy at Macy's. Although, why you shopping at Macy's? Like, the suit store at a J. Crew is completely different than Brooks Brothers, is completely different than an individual tailor. It really depends. How does relegation work? So relegation work, if you're the bottom two teams in the league, you face off against the top 2 teams of your region's Challenger Cup. Whoever wins gets the SPL spot. If you lose, you can go ahead and compete in the Challenger Cup, and then next time around, come around and get the relegation spot. Feelings on the rat rework? We'll have to see how the pros play him. I miss you, man. You think Oceans has potential to be a top hunter? I do. Who's the memeiest SPL player? Just look at Denial as a whole. Has there been any talk about the disparity of women players in the SPL? Every now and then that comes up. I don't think that there's any constructs that stop women from being a part of the competitive scene. We've seen a couple flirt with it. I think Junipera is probably the best example of a competitive player. She's been in a dual lane with XLOX pretty much forever. It's dope. We've had a couple of other competitive female players, but nobody has really come to mind or really come to the spotlight. At the end of the day, I think it's less about like a social construct that prevents women from playing in the SPL, whether it's barricades by the league itself or by the community. I think that there's less of a stigma about pro players, and just like there just aren't a lot of women pro players, as opposed to like something stopping them. Nulissa is probably the best example of a competitive player at the moment. She was looking for a team earlier. She can play with the best of them. I think Nulissa is Nulissa could probably be on an SPL team. I would like to see her. There are a couple of people that I'd like to see enter the SPL scene, and she's definitely one of them. I want to see her perform next split. I'd be very excited to see her on a team. Nika's not a girl. Nika's like a 15-year-old boy. How do you send in your application? Your application for what, Aura? I'm like 10 minutes too late. CogXX. I mean, that was... I hate that stuff. Junipera quit Smite? Really? Really? Yeah. This is the most slanty face thing ever. Good luck. Man, that sucks. Junipera was a high-level support that could really do it, but could never find a team. That sucks. Can I ask, add high-res for an Isis skin or a Wheeler skin? Sure. Junipera played on Xbox as well. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. What? Vedium and Adonis are 2 different ends of the spectrum. What are you talking about, Aura? What do I think about SCL soon? I mean, that's the 3rd time you asked that, dude. I mean, it's coming up. I don't know how else to, like, it's gonna be cool. Pern is low-key the best player in NAES, yes. I love Pern, but I don't think he's the best player in North America. Do I see the ranked game where, no. Is that man the best hunter in the world right now? It's arguable. Who is the memeiest player? Denial in general. Do I think problem is Luminosity not being aggressive in the laning phase? That's one of them. Looks wise, I don't think Vedium and Adonis look alike. Has there been any talk about the disparity? Yeah. What up, IBCB Moose? This split is very hard to predict. Do I think SWC will be more exciting than last year? I actually do, yes. When's the first game today? 1 o'clock. I gotta go soon. I had 667 viewers. Did I see the ranked game? No, I didn't. Echo Fox, yep. What do I think of Twiggy taunting his game? I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. Most fashionable player in the SPL. Young Bay, as far as streetwear is concerned, my man's Young Bay always looks fresh when he's just chilling. Weekend's got that athleisure look going on. He always looks like he's ready to go for a run, right? Nobody on Denial. Zapman is okay. Nobody on Envy. Nobody on LG. Nobody on Enemy. Definitely nobody on Enemy. Nobody on Randozo's. Jigs always looks well put together. And you know what? I take that back. Boosh. Boosh has a certain swag to him. I like Boosh's swag. Boosh got the flood pants, fancy watch swag going on. I like what Boosh brings. The most fashionable dude in the SPL. You're probably looking at Raxia as far as formal wear, Young Bay as far as street gear, Cuvo Fred or Trix Tank when it comes time to party. Trix Tank and Young Bay lock it down on streetwear. Boosh has a certain indie rock swag that I dig. Weekend has that athleisure look going on. And then whoever I left out is also there. So, you got that. MLC and his Heelys. I don't think enemy can beat Panthera this time. Sure. Sev Sork, that's something we're working on, actually. That's specifically something we're working on. You only ever see Tricks in his underwear? Gee. Nope. Not asking any questions. Not asking any more questions. Bob Goalie is in the SPL, but Bob Goalie has the same indie rock swag Boosh has. Right? Bob Goalie's my dude. Bob Goalie's one of my favorite people in the scene. I keep telling him he needs to, like, get up here and fight me on stream. He won't. How do I think Matty Pocket has been? I think he's been very, very good. What do I think about Xbox SP? God damn, Yo-Yo. What is this, Kiazo? This is Ataraxia, Manalike, and Pretty Prime. Pretty Prime dies to the Fire Giant. Ataraxia dies to the Fire Giant. Have I heard of a game called Vainglory? Yes. I actually was on a panel with one of the main streamers for Vainglory once upon a time. It was fun. I don't really play too many mobile games outside of games my friends made and Hearthstone. Would I like to see Poseidon Hunter? I don't care. More like best player specific role, not best player in the game. Yeah, I think there's that. I don't think Ocean's about they're doing well. If you want a cheap suit, honestly, for the best quality and cheapest solution, you buy one at H&M. I disagree. I think for the best cheap suit, you look at J. Crew. You're spending about $300, and you're gonna look like $1,000. But, yeah. How do I think pro teams should handle that over aggression? Watch the VODs. If I was making a dream team of any player from any region, who would be on my team? So I made this the other day, and the rules were, this was actually really fun. The rules were no player could be repeated. No team could be repeated. And so for North America, I had Omega in solo, Andy in jungle, Chaos in mid, Jigs in support, and Zapman in hunter. For Europe, I had Dimmy. I couldn't decide between these two teams. So I had Dimmy in solo, Reels in hunter, and Cherio in the jungle. But I couldn't decide if I wanted Shadow Nightmare in mid, which would mean I had Emilzy as support, or Suntouch as support, which would mean I had someone else in mid that I forget. But you only spend $300 on a dress. Well, see, the thing about a suit is like, I mean, this is an expensive suit, right? But like the thing about a suit is a dress, you rock a dress and like that's the dress. This suit, like I could wear with this shirt and this tie. I could wear it with a white shirt and any freaking tie, right? Like, so a suit is a little bit more malleable. You brought up Macy's Vulpix. Did we already talk about Smite even having a view-botted streamer now? I don't know anything about streaming. Would you prefer Conquest map be bigger? I think the actual size is best for gameplay. I don't know. I think we could get a little bigger, but right now it's the size is very strong. Any bigger and the game becomes slower. Okay. Does anybody think that Vedium looks like Adonis? No, I think that Adonis looks like the guy from Miracle on 34th Street, 43rd Street, 53rd and 6th Street. How can you forget about? Oh yeah. Nah, Junie said yesterday she quit. That sucks. Last movie I've seen in theaters. Jesus Christ. Bad Blood. I saw Bad Blood, which is a movie I'm in. It's a movie by a good friend of mine, Tim Reese. Came out real good. It's a horror movie. It's fun. Other than that, like as far as like because that was like an art house movie. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't see too many movies, realistically. I'm not sure. What was the best match I've watched this year? Split. Eesh. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Have I seen any Australian commentators? Yeah. I think some of them are good. Yuzi's the man. Best player in Smite should be the best player in specific role. Yeah, I feel you. Does Hi-Rez care about OG Smokes and iJungle view botting like crazy? That's not a Hi-Rez problem. I don't know why that's a Hi-Rez problem. God has a cat. Stud Husky. That's good. Yeah, definitely nobody on enemy. Have you ever seen your team, dude? Have you ever seen the way Payne dresses, dog? Do I ever not wear a suit? Frequently. How do I feel about jungler being mid player? Dude, I fucking hate it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, dude. I can't deal with it. Marauder, you're not that cute. You're also bad at Twitter. You guys need to pick up your clothes game. Yeah. Trix Tank does like to take his pants off. Why isn't Merc chosen more in the SPL? I think he will be. Right now, Thor is just always an option. Thor is always an option. From an org perspective, what do you look for in a team? I look for a nice combination of strong gameplay, marketable individuals that actually do something. Not the potential of marketability, but players that actually put something forth. Don't forget, an esports organization is really like an advertising platform. You have money because people give you money to put them in a spot where they will be noticed. People like HyperX and et cetera, your sponsors, right? So an organization looking for a team, I want to find somebody that can maximize and amplify my advertising platform. So I'm going to go ahead and let people know that, hey, I want to find a team that's good enough to wind up at LAN and be a team that people talk about. I'm going to find a team that is a bunch of that stream a bunch or have a good social media platform or have a lot of YouTube, just people that have exposure in general. Am I hyped for Magic going to Kaladesh? Sure. Stream is such delay. I'm more delayed than the stream, honestly. Who are the top 3 supports in the world? Let's see. Payne, Suntouch, Raffer. Sure. Warriors or Thunder? How many games? Warriors in 6. Realistically, a lot of people don't have $300 to spare for a suit. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Making that investment might be worth it. I made sure to invest in a good suit when I did launch tournament. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. I have no comment. Shadow best mid E. Okay. Oh, Shadow Nightmare. I thought you meant Shadow Q. Did any more roster changes happen? Not too much. Sun and Pain over Tricks. Yeah, I'd say so. When you finally make worlds. There you go. Would I prefer Conquest map to be bigger? I like it the way it is. We're going to see a movie. Yo, I'm down. Don't think Nuwa will get any buffs. I don't know. I'm not sure. Who's the best objective stealer in the world? Anybody that plays Bacchus? I have no idea, honestly. These days it's weird. Seems that Weekend is one of the best shot callers. I definitely, I won't not agree. Does Soar and Eager play today? Yes. Today's games. Let's take a look at today's games before we head out, shall we? Today's games, leagues. What type of dice are above my head? Those are Yankee dice. Those are Yankees dice. Where are we? Today's games. Today's the 22nd, eh? We have Randozos versus Enemy. And Eager versus Soar. That should be really exciting. I'm very excited for Eager versus Soar. These teams are very closely matched as far as individual talent is concerned. Their teams have also looked very strong as well. I'm ready for a barn burner. The way I broke it down before was I think Soar's a little bit more consistent than Eager, but when Eager wins, they win harder than Soar. I have this as a split, but if Eager wins game 1, don't be surprised if they take game 2. What is my favorite beer? Right now, Shotgun Betty or Hoogarden. I always like Hoogarden. And then Yingling is like a staple. I'll always drink Yingling. Lithe Panther. I love that. I heard you make a Pixies reference in a cast. Favorite Pixies song? Huh. I don't know. What Pixies reference did I make? Probably Where Is My Mind. I like to keep my references surface level. I don't know what my favorite Pixies song is. Randozo versus Enemy is just going to be one-sided, Vulpix. I think we're going to see like a nice step up from Randozo's, but unfortunately, I don't think they win the games. I think Enemy's just a little bit too strong. Don't be surprised if Rando's split with Enemy. I will be surprised. Stella's okay. Stella to me is more Streetcar Named Desire than anything else. Gigantic. I totally, yeah, okay, that makes sense. What are my weaknesses as a commentator and how do I address them? Recently I've just flubbed on my words, and I don't really like. That's just kind of comes here and there. Sometimes I'm not as concise in my analysis as I would like, and one of the things that I do to fix that is I practice commentate with a stopwatch. I'll make sure that everything I say is delivered in 20-second bits, which has helped in my chair one position, but was certainly rough when I was casting with Drybear. I never do that. I haven't the position that I played for Drybear was the first time I've done that in over a year. So that was just rough. I do not like Dos Equis. Who cast Rando's Enemy game today? Me and somebody. I think if LG makes the LAN, they will perform better at LAN? No. Randall's going to 2-0 Enemy. Is there a real clear-cut best team in North America? No. It seems like the whole desk has been flubbing more words more often recently. I don't know. It's infectious. This has just been an off week for me. Nice. It's me and Toli today. It should be fun. Are people with turbans allowed in the SPL? Of course. You're very close to getting banned. Kiki is not as good as MLC Stealth. He was like 5 levels behind on Zeus against Laz last week. What do I think the reason before? So I think Kiki is closer to Stealth skill level than you think. And the real reason for the switch is exactly what MLC said in his tweet. Longer. That was longer than it needed to be. I talked with Omega, and he said that Cyclone, the new jungler, would rather play with Kiki as his mid laner because Cyclone thinks they would have more synergy. Quote, end quote. That's why. Yeah, I saw that GIF. It was funny. Eager versus Soar? Yeah, I think those are the two ones. Best Uller in the world? Probably Zatman. Kiki is not close to MLC skill level. You're wrong, but that's okay. What time are the games? About 1. Yeah, you know, we work through Vulpix, you know, step by step. I try to stay positive as much as possible, but sometimes, you know, negative things just sort of pile up. Like, I don't know. I try to be positive, but not annoyingly so. I'm not jaded, and I like that. But, you know, I'm a realist, and I always have been, and I always will be. And sometimes, I don't know, people have their ups and downs. And last week was definitely not one of my better weeks as far as just living in general. And I think that sort of fell over into my commentary, tying question A and question B together. I think part of my issue with flubbing words this week or last week into this week has just been that my mind has been rather cluttered. And so I had a day off yesterday, which makes my mind more cluttered than not, honestly, for more reasons than none. But I think that the day off yesterday was able to, I was able to at least think about recharging, which is kind of nice. I still have a lot on my mind and it sucks, but I just have to get better. I should probably meditate. I should I think the biggest problem with my commentary right now is I'm in my own head, whether I'm thinking about other things or I'm thinking about mistakes that are happening in real time. I'm just not allowing myself the situation to breathe. What do I think about Blizzard fighting against racism in the chat? I think more esport games will follow. Good fucking luck. Like, good luck. Honestly, just shut off chat. Just shut off chat. If you have 100,000 viewers, if you have 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 viewers, it's going to be a shit show. It's the bleachers, right? Just shut off chat. Just shut it off. Chat is for this. This is what Twitch chats are for. Having a conversation back and forth like this. Being able to interact with your chat. There's no interaction during the LCS or Blizzard stuff or SPL. Right? The commentators aren't going, what Rage Guy 34 said in chat was a good point. Right? Like, that's not part of esport commentary. So there doesn't have to be a chat. Just take it away. If you're going to sit there and moderate chat, that's a bunch of words. Where can I go to learn how to Counter-Strike? I like to watch a lot of Steel _TV. He's an ex-professional player. He's playing more Overwatch these days, but he's an ex-professional player. He's really good. Just watch the majors, honestly. Watch the LANs. The commentary staff do a very good job of breaking down the game. Shouts to Semler. Also, Semler, one of the best dressed guys in esports. Semler is the best dressed guy in esports. Machine is a close second. Do SPL subs get paid if they play one game? I'm not sure. I forget. I beat Kiki in rank. He is not even close to stealth level. Rank doesn't really show your level of skill, and he is close to stealth level. You guys don't actually understand how to, like, evaluate skill, but that's okay. Best dueler in the world is Chapo. Thank you, Richie. I think that as a whole, the commentary staff has stepped it up. Even without Brandon, I think the commentary staff has sounded better than we did last year. I do want Brandon back, but that's neither here nor there. I think MLC is easily better at carrying. I'll agree. Where Kiki is better at setting up and leading. That said, I'd value MLC's skill set more in the mid than I would Kiki's. I don't want Kiki's style in support or jungle. It's not about what position you want the style in. It's about what team you want the style on. And I think that Envy needs a player like Kiki when they're surrounded by Omega, Snoopy, Eonic, Cyclone Spin. MLC was with Andy for 3 years. Mm-hmm. We don't know how good MLC is. I understand where you're coming from. MLC hasn't had the best situation to really showcase his skill set, but I think that we certainly have seen. Do I miss Brandon? Of course. Come to yoga with you? You'd have to drag me to that shit. I'm meditating already with that beer. I don't have a beer. It's 11. Although I would drink whenever I want. This is just a shitty monster. Do I think Panthera will win Worlds? Yes. If teams stay the same as they are now, yes. Zatman's the best player in the world. Zatman. Can you let me know the beef with Weekend and Omega? It was silly. Weekend on stream got taunted by Omega, and then Weekend said that Omega destroyed Envy. It was dumb. Shut off chat. Instantly lose half of the viewers. That's completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. No, that's not how that works. At all. Roster changes this week? I think we're okay. They do. Anatoly says they do. Getting team paid is under the team's discretion, really. Well, Anatoly and Wolf of Elo Street, two different scenes. Might be two different rules. F-Swag is a pro coach. He understands a pro level. I'm not a pro coach. I think that if we had a new group of SPL players come in, I could be a coach, but I don't think the players respect me and my analysis enough to actually accept that I could be a coach. I think that I could coach a team. Who do I think is going to be Panthera's biggest threat in NA? Either Eager or Soar. Top 3 High Noon? I didn't know. Oh, Steel is top 3 McCree's? I didn't know that. Can I do a cringe bro fist? I don't even know what that means. There's so many internet buzzwords on there I want to alt F4. Mr. F. Dot, what do you think about making a show talking about taboos? Probably not what I want to do, but sure. What do you mean by that? What would I say would determine when a jungler would want to build Void Shield build compared to the Sans Jotun build? 2 things. 1, how important are your cooldowns? If you're Thor, you kind of want those cooldowns all the time. You want your ult, you want your stun, etc. 2, depending on how the game is going, if you're a little bit behind, you want to build a Void Shield. And also Void Shield just in general, if you're in a situation where there's a lot of players on your team to make use of the passive and players on the enemy team to be taken advantage of, I guess. What are my thoughts on ALG now? They're looking good, but other teams are still looking better. Do I think supports are underrated generally? Not by the people that matter. Try Rage Yoga. That sounds interesting. Is Hunger for War unstoppable? I don't know about that. Who would you like to pick for a team? Mid, Kiki, or MLC? For Envy, Kiki. I think those are Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't have any Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Are you talking about oh, you guys can't even see my Magic cards. No, I'm a Magic nerd player. I'm a nerd Magic player. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is actually one of the card games that I have never played. How many times can I be wrong in 10 minutes? I don't know. I haven't been wrong yet. Forston's one of the bigger streamers, and they're all just there for chat. Streamers are much different than events. If Enemy won today, they missed DreamHack? I don't think so. I don't think so at all, actually. I'd have to check, but... How old is F-Dot? 26. Do they have an announcer pack for you? Yes, we recorded it. I have no fucking clue when it's coming out, dude. If it even is. Where do I see Smite in the next 2 years? Hopefully growing. Hopefully growing. The numbers are growing as far as individual players are concerned. I hope that the numbers grow as far as the competitive scene as well. Players are played based on the games they play, so if somebody subs in, even for one game, they receive that portion of the money for that role, unless they state that they don't want it. That's Barn, affiliated with Dignitas, so he knows what he's talking about. How do you assist or let SPL players cast when they're on the desk? Do I direct the conversation? No. Never let them. I never let them cast because nobody knows how to cast. That's not a, man, you suck, you don't know how to cast. That's just a, you play and you don't cast. SPL players are really fun because they're just pure, like they're pure knowledge. It's almost like a I don't even know how to, like they're a fruit and I'm a juicer, right? I got to figure out where and when their knowledge is applicable and interesting. They have all the knowledge in the world, and if I ask them about, you know, why do you build boots in the first position? That's lame as hell. Like, that's lame as hell. I have to find out, like, level 8, so the solo laner hit level 9. Why is this important? And then he's going to tell me that because that means that tier has both Fearless and Power Cleave maxed out. That means that he's going to be able to, etc., etc., etc. So it's about finding the right information. I have a lot of fun commentating with the pros on the desk, for sure. What would my biggest tips be for easing the pain of the rank grind? Don't play ranked if you don't want to. What happened to Fnatic? Everything. Favorite God player combos. Lazes on Athena jungle. Best on Scylla. Zapman on Honor. Zapman on Uller. Benji on Amaterasu. Variety on tier. Chapo on tier. What is my favorite Magic strategy? Control. I'm a blue player. I love control. I love hard lockdown. If I had to put together a high-res employee's dream conquest team, who would I put in what position? Pecky's in all 5 roles? No, I'd probably have Pecky's, Pon, Adonis. Ajax. I don't know. What colors do I play? Primarily blue. I like control. Is it, though? That's my dream is a good is it deck. Lock you down with blue, and then fireball you in the face with red. Play like a single wall character. What are those cards to the left of me on the desk? Left. These aren't cards. This is a coaster. This is an Overwatch fat pack. Or an Oath of the Gatewatch fat pack. But no. To the left of me is my Twitch check, my GG button, the last lecture by Randy Pausch, and a coaster that I'm not using. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the best thing I've ever been a part of. Yeesh. I'm sorry. How do I feel if Smite Esports were to be set up like the LCS later in the future? I don't understand. The SPL is set up like the LCS. If you mean a LAN, that's obviously the ideal, but we don't have that kind of money. What do I think? How will Asian teams perform in Smite? We'll see. They've gotten better. I don't remember Pern casting. Why is Pecky subbed to a ginger? I don't know. When you say not the people that matter, no, by the people that are informed. Like Smite game, people that are posting in Smite game like undervalue supports, but they don't actually matter. Like the people that know what they're talking about. Whether it's fans that are educated or otherwise. Do I think it would be a good idea to increase the SPL to 10? No. Not at all. In fact, 8 teams is even kind of rush. Blue control all the way? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, T-Vel. Control Esper, I think. I'm not a big fan of black, honestly. I'm very bad at black mechanics. Although RuneScape Chronicle has gotten me better at black. I play Venescula, who's a vampire who deals, like, without getting into it, RuneScape, you have 30 HP, or Chronicles, you have 30 HP, and you got to bring yourself down to 50. A lot of your cards as the vampire have Mortal, which are more effective if you're 15 health or below. So I've gotten better at black because of that, but Esper control is generally where I'll lean towards. But without fetch lands, I think we're moving away from tricolors. I think we're going back to two color decks. I want Izzet to make a return. Izzet is the most fun, for sure. Is it tempo? Hell yeah, Moose. That's my jam. Drelo played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! In his youngin' days. Oh my god, of course he did. He's such a freaking shitter. Drelo was totally that dude that would sit there and play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And then take advantage of the little kids in trades. That's totally exactly. Who or where do I play Magic? I used to play Magic at FCB. I don't anymore since they closed, which was a local small place. I actually made a bunch of good friends from there. Occasionally I'll go down to Gigabyte or Wasteland in the city, but very rarely. What would happen if one of you really need to go to the bathroom during casting? You don't. You go to the bathroom before you cast. That's a big part of it. Do I think Hindu should keep his hair dyed? No. Most games do yeah. You ship She-Hulk and Galactus. That is excellent. I'm glad. You have a Jack the Reaper skin from an old loot crate. It's only redeemable on PC. Can I swap it for anything? I don't think so. Try sending a tweet to Pon. Is my full-time job, or do I have to supplement it with another job? Both. Pern Pern was an analyst at the launch tournament. Yes. Who are the main casters now? The SPL commentary staff is Adonis is the head commentator, and then myself, Toli, and Hindu Man work underneath him. Of course, you did that, Volpixies. Most hype moment in all of the SPL probably happened before the SPL at the launch tournament. I absolutely loved Shadow Q Jukes. You can always find that. Do I like how Panthera tries to get Demi ahead with an early gank and leave him alone because he's that good? Sure. Jund is a thing in Standard? Yeesh. I haven't looked since Innistrad, honestly. I've just assumed with the loss of fetch lands that we'd see. Well, Jund will always be a thing, but SPL starts in about an hour. How do you get good? Good at what? What's my other job? I don't have. Well, I stream. Looking back, that brings in a decent. It helps out. Looking back over team performance, the split. How do you feel now that the 3 previous player rule to be grandfathered in SPL? I think it worked out. I think it worked out, especially with a halfway through the split roster lock. I think TJ Pernicus would be uneager if Zap knew about the 2-man roster rule before. Yes. Adonis is the head commentator. Yes, he is. I did see that BMM33. I saw that there was a mill deck killing it in Modern right now, which makes me want to play Modern, which is kind of funny. Lobster or Yaman? Depends on the situation, I think. What's up, Pixie? Adonis... I don't know if he might have been a newer I think he's newer to commentary, but he's been at high res for longer. Proxy didn't love the Shadow Q Jukes. Do I think Arachne ult get buffed and Wall truly? No. Do I think Hunger for More will split with Panthera? No. Do I think there are going to be more splits this week than 2-0s? No. Do I think if Dry Bear has intentions of coming back as a caster? Absolutely no. Demi best solo? It's arguable. No comment, Mr. Tim. If you could pick one caster from all history to cast a game with, who'd it be? Probably DM. Innistrad is back. Yes, Shadows of Innistrad is that's the current set. How far do I live away from high rise? About 15 minutes. What's the greatest Smite play I've ever witnessed? Probably Shadow Q Jukes. What do I think about Weekend on ALG? I think he brings a necessary shot calling. Which is something that ALG has been looking for. I feel rat rework makes him less unique. because he isn't a movement-based guy anymore. I know a movement-based kick can be bounced, but it was unique. I'll agree with you more than I disagree with you, but I still want to see the good players play him. Who'll take third DreamHack spot for EU? I think Dignitas. But the strength of schedule doesn't agree with me there. It might be Cringe Crew. What happens after teams get relegated? Are they just kept from playing? No. So when you're relegated out, relegation, you're just stuck on. You can't play in the next split because you're relegated out, and whoever beats you is there. What happens is there are always two leagues running. There's the Pro League and there's the Challenger Cup, and the top teams in the Challenger Cup play against the bottom teams of the Pro League. And if you get beat from a Challenger Cup team, you switch spots essentially, right? And then, so that team that got beat has to go play in the Challenger Cup and then do the same thing. They have to be 1 or 2. And then at the end of the next split, they can compete again to get back into the SPL. What extra responsibilities does Kevin have as the head of commentary? He does a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. He does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff as far as, like, schedule and all of the, like, clerical stuff. Schedule and anything that has to be run by, like, as far as being a liaison to other departments and stuff like that. He sets up meetings occasionally. He, takes it upon himself to set up practices, etc. What up, ass? Sum up the roster changes real quick. Snoopy on Envy is good, but long-term. Weekend on ALG is good, but short-term, what the fuck is happening to Fnatic? Thanks, Moose. Who's my favorite commentator, including sports and esports? My favorite play-by-play commentator is probably Mike Breen. He's an NBA commentator. My favorite analyst is probably... I really like Jeff Van Gundy, who's also NBA. But I also really like Semler, who's Counter-Strike. Do I think MLC is done with Smite? No. Did DM resign? Yes. You have a blue-black mill deck. My friend hates it. Sounds about right. Relegations suck. Relegations are fun. I don't think it's annoying. Relegations are fun. It's interesting. American sports don't do relegations, but European sports do. It keeps the league fresh, but I didn't like relegations at first. It was something that I had to warm up to. I think Enemy will be an even stronger team once Marauder steps his mean game up. Yes. No, there are only 2 splits. Yeah, you can link the deck list. Very unlikely we like DreamHack. Yeah. It's honestly, like, Dignitas going to DreamHack is who I predicted. I think that DreamHack is probably the better team out of the teams competing to go to DreamHack, but just due to strength of schedule, I think Cringe Crew has a better chance to go ahead and make it. Does Hi-Rez APC still work for Hi-Rez? Of course, he's the head of esports. Rendozo's won the Challenger Cup. Yes. Just watch Shadow Q Jukes. Dude, it's insane. What do I put in my hair? I think it's fiber. American Crew. I forget. I think I use I don't use the fiber. I don't use the cream. I think I use the fiber, but I'm not sure. I forget. It just it looks like this stuff. This is the brand I use. Whoops. Not playing Smite. Gus Johnson. Aren't all analysts former pros? Nope. Jeff Van Gundy's not. He's a coach, but that's neither here nor there. Favorite NBA team? I like the Knicks because they're my hometown team, but my favorite team is probably the Spurs. Semler, but not Anders. Anders is not an analyst. Do I feel time limit to surrender is too early? No. Thoughts on Toronto Raptors for us Canadians? They're fun. Favorite player to watch ever in Smite? Zapman. What about Hunger for More? Are they still in it? Yes. Can they take a game off Panthera? I don't think it's outlandish, but I don't think so. Who are my picks for relegations in the UNA? EU, Torpedo, and Fnatic. NA, Envy, and Randozos. Thoughts on iFates? What's up, iFates? I think it's the blue top Doom Slice. If Lumi doesn't go to DreamHack, wouldn't it be the first time Andy, Jeff, and Barra haven't been to LAN in like 2 or 3 years? Probably. Same thing with Reels over for Fnatic. Does Allied still work for Hi-Rez? I mean, Allied is currently dealing with his cancer. So, unfortunately not. I wish I had a beard like me. Just grow it, man. Always a wig. Did I see the match prep with Matty Pocket? Yes. I love the stuff ALG has been putting out. Who's the best mid in North America right now? That's a tough one. I think that you can look at. That's tough. All of the mid players are very specific to their teams. Like Chaos is very good because of the rest of Enemy. Boosh works out well because of the rest of Luminosity, and Best works out well. I think those are the three guys you look at. Don't think if we can get back to the top, not anytime soon. Well, Pixies just gets aggressive when she get. Never mind. Why is 1v1 Duel a ranked only game mode? Was there a plan to make it into esports too? No. 1v1 Duel is a ranked only game mode because 1v1 Duel is unbalanced without bans. Bans feel bad in casual game modes, and that's that. Why do I feel randos lose a lot? Because they didn't really get a chance to really practice with their roster as much. I gotta go. Did I see Zapman video DM tweeted? No, I didn't. I gotta go. I gotta head and go cast some game. Thanks for watching. I'll be hosting the SPL on this stream. If you guys want to watch and have a little bit more like relevant conversation. But if you just want a meme, Hi-Res TV is, of course, the place to go smork. Appreciate all the new subs and all the new loves. You guys really keep the stream alive. Once again, we're sort of sponsored by Into the AM. They're a cool place to go ahead and get t-shirts. If you use code FDOT, you get 10% off. And then there you go. You get a link into that shit as well. So thank you. I will catch you later today, 1 p.m., twitch.tv/Hi-Res TV, or right here. I'll host it as well. Peace. How much left?